And good afternoon, everyone. This is Carlos Ponce from Near South, broadcasting live from kind of a rather unique location. I'm at a Starbucks, and this is one of the beauties of working with Near South is that we can pretty much work from anywhere.
With
Now
the
let's
internet connection.
Yeah, exactly with a good connectivity. So let's cross our fingers. Okay, today joining me today from our office in Hermosillo is Aurora Velez, my fellow teammate, longtime teammate, over 12 years, just give or take. Hi, Aurora. Aurora? It's a
Hi.
pleasure to have you here. Thank you for joining us as co-host today on Dojo
Thank
Live.
you. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay. Absolutely. And last but not least, we have our featured guest. We're going to be having a conversation with Mr. Gilad Salamander. He is the CEO of eClincher, a social media management platform, and he'll be telling us all about it today. Gilad, it's a pleasure and an honor to have you here today. So welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you also for accommodating the last minute changes last week. Okay, so Gilad, let's. I would like to start off my conversation with you with a couple of things. Of course, it's about you and your company. So tell us about you and tell us about eClincher. What's the story? Tell us a little bit about that, please.
Sure. Yeah, so eClincher, as you mentioned earlier, it's a complete social media management platform. We designed the platform to help businesses of all sizes to really manage started with the social media presence kind of in one platform and expanding into other channels like Google My Business and some maybe Yelp and other channels as well. So this has became a really huge time saver for businesses. As social media is evolving over the years. Started kind of like 2009, mostly with enterprises using social media, and it's kind of evolved into small and micro businesses. And now it's very common to almost everyone, to use consumers using social media to communicate with businesses of all sizes. Um, so we built eClincher really to solve a huge problem because that communication channel, which mostly started with marketing needs requirements in terms of reaching out to people, kind of building your brand to make sure people hear about your brand, and businesses using social media for brand awareness. Now it's in addition to the marketing aspect of it, it's also, if you will, CRM, like customer relationship management and main communication channel. I can give you a few examples with that. Let's take United Airlines. So if you have a problem with a ticket today, you will maybe tweet to United Airlines, and you'll get a response with less than 2 minutes. This is all given the social media, how it's kind of accepted as a main communication channel. And from United Airlines, it's kind of basically going down to the much smaller businesses as we move forward in time. So it's kind of interesting to see. Um, a little bit about myself. So I'm the CEO and co-founder of eClincher. We started the company back in 2012. We pivot away from the initial concept of which included mostly analytics of social and some website monitoring in terms of performance and making sure the site is loading in a fast or sufficient speed before users will leave the website. In 2014, that's where we pivot away to complete social media management platform. Um, as I mentioned before, I'm the CEO and the co-founder of the company. I've done some other positions, all the way from semiconductor to marketing to building companies. I'm a partner in another company called Epimetrics. Um, so this is about myself.
Thank you, Gilad. Um, I see that you have extensive experience in product vision, strategic planning, profit and loss management, and operational excellences. So, how do you come up with the strategies to support business growth using the tool?
Yeah, so our business growth, or in general, supporting clients' business growth.
Client business growth.
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, social media and online presence is becoming kind of the key must-have, presence for any business for any size. If you take, for example, a restaurant owner, people look up reviews before they check out the reviews before they decide which restaurant to go to. Um, so we need to provide them a tool that really give them the freedom and the option to very efficiently respond to people, making sure they're not missing any reviews. They can respond to people very quickly, and they can also promote themselves. So the platform that we build really allows uh, businesses of all sizes, very large companies to very small companies, to achieve all of that. If needed, they can use other team members or other users within the same company, kind of engaging with their users or their audiences.
Okay. And how do they get started in the use of eClincher
So
for a new
it's
client?
really, yeah, it's really easy to start. We offer a free trial. So when I say free, it's completely free. We don't ask for credit card information. We don't ask for any payment. And the reason for that is we believe in transparency. We believe if a business or a user will see the value for his business or her business, they will use the tool and then eventually convert and decide to pay for the service. So we offer 14 days trial. And during the trial, they get full support. All the functionality is open. Everything is available to the user so they can try everything. They can also use our support 24/7. So if they have any questions, how to connect, how to use a feature, we provide all of that within our platform.
Okay, thank you.
Gilad, there's something, before we continue with the conversation, I would like to go back a little bit to your chosen topic of the day, which is the business use case. So, why did you choose this particular topic, and why did you decide that it was important to talk about these aspects?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things, a couple of indications in the market. Basically, one of them is, we hear on the news, we hear other businesses, we see the growth of social media. It's just getting much bigger than everyone anticipated. Um, and so a lot of businesses, they feel like, before they had to spend, or the marketing spend was, or the budget spend was allocated into different type of reaching out, brand awareness, advertising, and all of that. And now social media, since it's becoming such a strong, um, like I said, a must-have channel in terms of communication, reaching out to new leads and potential customers, as well as addressing issues and complaints. Um, this is really the main reason why business would choose to be in social media. So, so that's the business use case. We feel like, and we hear it from our customers as well. It's not a matter of a choice. Do I need to have a Facebook page or a Twitter account or Instagram? They just jump into it, and they know they have to spend both time, resources, of course, and dedicate themselves and dedicate resource to do that. The platform that we build really helps them to address this issue and address the business use case, which is, again, be present and be available to consumers, asking questions or engaging with our company. um, and so we build a platform to help this specific use case.
Thank you so much, Gilad. I have one more question, and then I'm going to pass on the mic to Aurora. Well, since we're discussing the business use case, I think it's relevant. Um, what would you say that? Well, okay, let me put it this way: what is the biggest challenge in your industry overall related to improving the customer experience and its impact on adoption in your marketplace?
I think definitely there are a lot of a lot of tools, a lot of platforms out there from previous years, from many years ago. To be honest, things change so much. As an example, all the social channels requiring now to be a partner, a full partnership. And so if you're not a partner, you're going to have a really hard time to get all the features and all the functionality that users really need. Mainly talking about publishing, engagement, analytics, and content, managing the content, and also curate content and finding relevant content to share with your audience. Um, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so in terms of working in the software industry and developing a product, your product, how do you handle the client feedback in order to make improvements to the system?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we very early on we prioritize customer support and customer engagement. So we believe in connecting to our users and what they need. We believe this is the only way to develop a much needed product. So the way we do it, we have the customer support. We constantly talking to our clients and leads, doing demos, doing customer support questions or cases, and often we hear suggestions, new features, and in a lot of the cases we see the value in that. We research more that particular suggestions and we implement and then we roll it out. So I think being connected to the end user in those ways that I mentioned, which is customer support demos and just being on the phone with customers and understanding their needs, really help us to come up with an amazing product that can address a lot of the issues, a lot of the time-consuming switching between platforms, logging in to different platforms, analyze it. In many cases, we've seen customers coming to us using 3 or 4 different tools, paying to 4 different services, and they switch to us and they use one service. So in addition to the saving, the cost saving, of course, it's also time saving and also more efficient, and it allows them to really focus on their business and grow the business with this extra time that they can gain.
Great. So, how does your company work towards finding the talent that works for your company and solves this issue, develops?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we are a multi-international team. We have people all over the world. We're expanding. Typically, we finding people as a referred, so an employee will refer other people that they know. It works the best. Our employees are extremely dedicated. They really care about the company and the company growth, and they want to make sure they do their best to contribute to the company. And the team has been expanding almost on a monthly basis. Yeah.
Oh, great. That sounds great. So, well, in terms of the people in the company, what would you say are the guiding principles of your culture, of the culture of your company?
Yeah, so be transparent. That's the number one. Be helpful. Be polite. Try to understand the issue. We take all cases extremely. So if there is a case and we can solve it within a live chat, it goes to a phone, and in many cases it go to a screen share, like a meeting with a screen share, and we making sure even if it takes an hour. We spend the time with the customer to make sure the problem is resolved. If the case is something more generic, of course, the information is being forwarded to the relevant team, which will then go to the development team, and then a solution will be, within a few days, will be rolled out.
Thank you. Do you have, does the system have any limitations or your processes? And I assume you are addressing them. So how are you doing that?
Can you clarify what you mean by processes?
Well, limitations that you.
Limitations. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so definitely, with every platform out there that has, partnership with other, in this case, social channels, there's limitations in terms of API or the application program interface, what we can get, what type of information we can get from the channels. Uh, I'm sure you guys heard about the privacy issue with Facebook that happened last year with the Analytica Cambridge. Um, a lot of changes happened since then, in terms of privacy and making sure that the privacy is kept for all users. So the limitation are mostly coming out from the channels themselves. Um, for example, if we want to access more data or specific data that is not available to us, we are limited by that, of course. In addition to that, I think limitation, of course, the size of the team, how many resources and developers you have. So we have a roadmap is quite rich and amazing. The features that we keep rolling out are very impressive. It's going to get much better than it is now. But for that, you need more people and you need to grow the team in order to get that, as soon as possible. But as you mentioned, there is a limitation, and you're going to need time to develop that.
Mhm.
So this is the second one.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
S-
Uh,
Uh,
I would like to
yes,
ask
go
a
ahead.
question. Okay, yeah, and this is I'm particularly interested, personally interested a little bit in all things AI, and we've had a lot of AI guests in the past. So my question is, in your industry, how do you think AI, if applicable, is going to change the landscape of of your industry, of your space, and your company for that matter?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think AI is definitely something that we start seeing in different industries and different spaces coming in, and a lot of startups and companies are coming up with great ideas. Specifically for our space, when you talk about customer or CRM or customer complaints or engagement with the business, we wanted to. The goal is to respond as quickly as possible and to allocate the conversation to the relevant person. So in our case, there's a couple of things we want to do. We want to allow our customers to be able to forward the conversation or the engagement or the question to the relevant person in their organization. And the second one, we want to do kind of sentiment analysis, text analysis, which will help us getting much better response time to reduce the response time, and again allocate to the relevant person so we can address, or the organization can address the issue as soon as possible. So mainly we see the AI relevant to our inbox. We have a feature called Inbox, which essentially will aggregate all the different type of communications or interactions from all the social channels, including reviews, including YouTube comments, Yelp, Google My Business reviews and questions, Q&A. All of those will come to the inbox, and what we see from our users is essentially, maybe in the past they used to publish a few posts, a day or a week or a month, and then now it's all becoming engagement. So to take care of this engagement portion, we build the inbox, and all they have to do is check the inbox just like email. They can complete items as soon as they respond, and they can also allocate or assign items to specific team members. So back to your question, I think AI will help us getting to assign those automatically to the relevant people within the organization, as well as trigger, if there is a negative sentiment or something like that we want to address quickly before it gets viral, before it affects the brand name, reputation, and so on.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Thank you so much, Gilad, again. I have one more question, and then I'm going to pass on back the mic back to Aurora. Um, from the business perspective, what kind of partnerships, would you consider strategic for your growth, as for eClincher's growth, and why?
I think, of course, the partnership, it has to be a very close partnership with all the social channels and the major one. So you're talking about Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google, really all the big one. And the reason for that is, because of this tight partnership, we're able to communicate, the pain points and the issues and what type of APIs or information we would like to get from those channels so we can better support our customers. So that's a very strategic partnership. If you want to add a new channel, a new social media channel, then again you need to be a partner. You need to get access. They will need to accept you. Um, I think it was in the beginning it was very challenging to get the partnership, to be honest. And the reason for that is, if you're Facebook and you want to work with certain partners that adding value to their users, so they're very careful in choosing those partners. And so over the years, we've seen, pretty much all of the social channels that we know, kind of having more strict rules and choosing more carefully their partners, and only a handful of partners. Um, so that's always a challenge, and getting new channels on board. Um, Specifically for the technical aspect of it, I think growing the team to be able to support fast enough our customers and requested features and so on, and of course prioritizing and understanding the market, what should be going first. All of those are ongoing challenges that we have.
Again, thank you so much, Gilad. Okay, we're approaching the final segment of today's conversation, so I need to pass on the mic back to Aurora, which I believe she has another question. So Aurora, feast away, please.
Yes, thank you, Carlos. So I just have one question. How do you make sure that, well, how do you assure the quality of your product? How do you do software testing? How is that team in particular structured? I'm
Yeah,
interested in that.
that's a great question, especially if we do updates often, let's say once or twice a week. It's going to be very challenging to keep up with, the quality assurance and making sure that the functionality is working the way it should, as well as nothing else is impacted, as you know. So we do have a QA team, the quality assurance team. The way it works is basically from development, it goes to testing. After the testing, the developer will receive a full feedback, what is working, what is not. And then, of course, once that issue is identified or fixed, goes back to QA. The next step, once everything is approved, then we go to something called pre-production environment. So we essentially roll out a full environment, the same as production, and we test it again to make sure everything is working. Once that is approved, then we can roll it out to production. Um, when we roll out to production, there's absolutely zero time or downtime to the user, which
Okay.
means there's no impact. Just like when Facebook rolls out a new feature,
Mhm.
certain users will see it right away as if they just logged into the system. Otherwise, it will come in as soon as they refresh their page or log in again to their system. So similar to that, we use the same way. Um, you know, Often since our users, one of the challenges, we spoke about challenges, our users, they stay logged into the system, they use it on daily basis, hours, every day. So they stay logged in and they won't discover this new feature that we just rolled out maybe a few days ago, just because they're still logged into the previous session.
Mhm.
Um, so in some cases, we'll send an email or a
Mhm.
pop-up on their application and their screen, asking them to refresh or log out and relog in to the application.
Do you have a team of
Oh
manual
no.
testers, or there's automation as well?
No, it's all. So we don't have automation. We're
Mhm.
thinking a lot about scripting and automation. The system is very complex. There's a
Yeah.
lot of different things. You could do that. I think you can do that well with, let's say, adding account or connecting Facebook account to a brand new trial account. I think that will work well. But there's certain things that it's just too many dependencies and too many conditions that you really
Right.
need human to test everything. And also, as you do that over time, you become more senior and more understanding the platform and all the
Yeah.
different features. So that's an advantage that maybe a script, of course, will not detect.
Hmm. That's right. Great. Great
Mhm.
answer.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gilad. Hey, listen, we are approaching the final minutes. So before we wrap up, I would like to ask you, Gilad, if someone were to approach you with, let's say, some words of wisdom, they're starting out, do you have any words of wisdom that you would like to share with the audience based on your experience, on your journey, and also, of course, on regarding the topic of today's conversation? Do you have any final words of wisdom for our audience?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. Over the years, what my experience and what I've learned over the years, there's a couple of things for any business, any size. It could be really small micro business all the way to a very large corporation. Um, so essentially, there's a couple of things that I recommend any founder, any business, at least try to follow. One of them, the first one, is connecting with their end users. End user can be defined as a customer, someone that may use your software or buy your product or service. That's the end user. Connecting with them means a lot of different things. Um, First of all, addressing what they're looking for, their pain point, or helping them in growing their business or growing their revenue, and that's the goal. So connecting is really understanding their needs and building a solution, appropriate solution to solve that problem or to help them grow their business. The second one is execution. So execution is extremely important. You can have the most amazing product without execution. That product will never grow or get adapted or sell in mass high volume. So execution can be done obviously with a really good team. So you have to be understand what your skill set of the team and hire or grow your team accordingly to make sure that the execution continues with the different phases of the company as the company continues to grow.
Thank you so much, Gilad. I think those are great final words of wisdom for today's conversation, and it's a good way to wrap up. But one more thing before we go is if someone wants to learn more about eClincher or wants to get in touch, how do they go about that? Where can they find you?
Yeah, so I recommend they go to eClincher.com. This is our main website. They can find out all the different features and functionalities. Um, we focus mainly on publishing, advanced publishing. We have really unique features with that aspect of publishing and smart queues. We take care of the engagement by providing a complete inbox that connects to all the major channels out there. We provide the analytics, so all the posting, all the scheduled posts that you can do on our system, you can find out how they perform and if it really drives traffic and how many clicks and views. So the analytics is great. We also help with content. So we suggest content on topic search, and this is coming from millions of websites and around the world, social media and websites. Um, so I recommend coming to eClincher.com. You can review the features and you can start a free trial. The free trial, as I mentioned before, we don't require any payment information. It really takes just a username and a password to log in, and then you can start schedule your first post, and then also respond. As engagement items comes to the inbox, you can respond quickly to people on different channels, different social channels. So, yeah, I think the trial and using the support. So if you have any questions, we provide a 24/7 live support. And so people can always start a live chat, a new conversation. And even if you're just a beginner, just starting social media for your business, or if you're a marketing savvy person that use various tools over the years, you can always address the questions to our experts in our support.
Thank you so much, Gilad. And of course, folks, if you're watching this at a later time after we're stopped broadcasting, you can find all this information is going to be right there on our website, and of course on the landing page for this interview. So it's all going to be there on dojo.nearsoft.com, right here on our website too. So, well, Gilad, the only thing left for me to do is send out a big heartfelt warm thank you for being here with us today, and of course to my fellow teammate Aurora, way over there in Hermosillo. Aurora, thank you so much for your gracious help and,
Thank you. Thank you.
for joining us today. I know it was your first time. You did great. I mean, can't wait to have you more often here in our Dojo Live. The only thing I don't envy is the weather you have, Aurora.
I know it's very
Yeah,
hot here right now.
it is. It is. Well, Gilad, our guest today, again, thank you. And folks, stay tuned for more Dojo Live interviews. Dojo Live, the future from those creating it.
Thank you,
so
thank you, guys. Thank you so much for having me as well. It was a pleasure to be here and have a kind of open discussion. I think it's a great forum. And I really like that format as well. So thank you again, and we'll talk again soon.
We will indeed, Gilad. So let's stay in touch, folks. Thank you so much for joining us on one more episode of Dojo Live, the future from those creating it. Bye, everyone.
Bye.